Going for the one, Yes. The first I heard of Yes was their version of Simon and Garfunkel's America, which was on a cheap sampler album I had bought for an obscure Led Zeppelin track I wanted. I was so taken by the colourful, bouncy nature of their sound that I bought the two albums that were current at the time and I played them to death. They sounded like nothing else. Clever playing yet catchy melodies combining all kinds of influences, folk, classical, film themes, and a refreshing absence of blues. Their otherness made them a relief from the sameness of their contemporaries. The thing that made the other bands heavy made Yes delicate. Where others may have used cacophony, they were always consonant and melodic. Where others were heavy on the beat, they nimbly shifted from one time signature to another. Where others were heavy on the bass, they were light and breezy. In fact, all the members of Yes seemed to be in a constant battle for the upper registers. Guitarists particularly, and keyboard players to a certain extent, seem to believe they do their most impressive work at the top of the neck or the far right of the keyboard. Maybe this is because in the jazz age, playing high notes on a trumpet was an achievement. Whereas the higher you go up a guitar neck, the easier it is to bend a note. And it never actually requires any special facial contortion. However, as the tracks on Yes albums got longer and more complex, for me the lightness of it seemed to make it insubstantial. Like an ever-growing meringue, sidelong pieces of clever timing tricks. Clever, but only in that they were sequencing multiple simple ideas. I found them a bit super-trampy. I abandoned Yes even before it was fashionable so to do. I wanted to hear something less ornate, in the way you might tire of the pre-Raphaelites and seek out the works of Rothko or Mondrian. Then Yes went the other way and made some interesting singles that condensed their ideas into easily digestible bites. And despite Yes still being quite unfashionable, I quite liked these singles, particularly the sonically very interesting Owner of a Lonely Heart. The album Going for the One, released in 1977, opens with a slide guitar that actually makes them sound very uncharacteristically exciting. There is also the single Wondrous Stories, a song I never actually disliked even at the height of punk and my Yes scepticism. I would rank all the songs on this album as amongst the best in their catalogue, but the song Awaken might be my all-time favourite Yes song. It was a long time after Yes had recorded this album and had become a real-life soap opera of splits, reunions and court cases, that I heard Awaken on Stuart Maconie's Freak Zone on Six Music. If you only listen to one Yes song, I would suggest Awaken. It is archetypical Yes. It drew me in with a curious piano line which led into some very Yes-ish singing and playing, that then collapsed into a false ending, but then returned and built in a lurching and plunging fashion, almost sexy for Yes, into a very satisfying climax, quite choral and operatic, Wagnerian even. In the classic Yes lineup that recorded this, Rick Wakeman may have been at his most symphonic, with his most churchy, grandiose organ. Steve Howe complements everything with sharp, precise, rapid flurries of guitar licks that often seem to be going backwards, and that sharpen the texture of all the pieces. John Anderson's singing is, as always, implausibly high, and Chris Squire's bass does its characteristic trebly bubbling thing. If you tire of the gloom of metal, the misery of the blues, the anarchy of punk, the darkness of goth, the thud-thud-thud of EDM, the whinging of country, and the didactic preaching of folk, a short time with the optimistic and enlightening sound of classic Yes may give you a suitable temporary respite. Yes, going for the one.